All right, welcome back. We are trying to get you from where you are to your ACME faster and with less effort. We're trying to make change happen in an instant. So we've covered a lot of ground up to now. You know, we're many weeks into these videos, and if you're getting a lot of video value out of them, please share them. Today we're talking about ACME number 3. ACME number 3 is what we call the Performance Triad. Together with ACME 1, the process of change, and ACME 2, the cycle of results. ACME 3, the Performance Triad, they make the foundation of performance. So that's what we're talking about today. My name is Gina Malacone-Long. I'm the creator of Greatness You, the author of The Secret of Successful Failing and Think or Sink. I get up every day to help the people around me reveal what's already there, their greatness. And I dedicate my life to helping people get there faster and with less effort. So ACME is a framework that we use inside Greatness You. The word means peak or highest point. It also conjures up, you know, great memories from your childhood if you watched The Roadrunner when you were a kid. So there's positive emotion involved there, but it also stands for the accelerated change mechanisms of excellence. We have 7 of them, the ACME 7 at Greatness U that we use. And today we're going to be talking about number 3, which is called the Performance Triad. And so a triad implies that you need all 3 in order to perform. And that's critical, is that there are 3 components to performance. So last week we left off with the cycle of results, if you recall, right? We used Thurman Fleet's model of thoughts lead to feelings, feelings lead to actions, actions lead to results. Be, do, have. Now, today we are going to focus strictly on going inside, because this is where, right here, in this human being, which is what you are, inside your meat suit, you know, in the container that is you and not me, is where the real opportunity lies. Because, you know, actions, there's lots of people out there telling you do this or do that, or do it this way or don't do it that way. I say, like, do it any way you want to get your results. But sometimes you know, many people will say to me, I've tried everything, or I've given it everything I had. Well, you haven't. What you've done is exhausted the number of actions you can think of to put eggs in a half-baked cake, remember from the story. And now it's time to actually go back and change something in your life. If you want things in your life to change, you have to change something of significance. And I'm here to tell you that if you change who you are being, okay, in my work, we sometimes call that your state, or your state of being. If you change that, you will actually then have different choices for actions. You'll have different choices for behavior, and that will lead to new results. So at the end of the day, your thoughts become your reality. So let's go inside this part of the cycle into what we call the Performance Triad. So it's your state. All right, let me just get this out of the way here. So your state. So instead of having to control 70,000 thoughts a day, right? You instead are going to just focus on the triad. There are 3 components to the triad: focus, emotions, and physiology. Focus, emotions, and physiology. Those are the 3 components of the triad. Now, what do you do with those things? Well, very simply, as you see here behind me, right? Focus on what you want. Focus on what you want. Choose positive emotions and have a physiology of power. Those are the 3 things: focus, emotions, and physiology. So in this model, the Performance Triad is those 3 components. Your focus, so instead of controlling 70,000 thoughts a day, you control your focus. Your emotions, which is equivalent to feelings, and your physiology, which is your meat suit, your actual body, your actual internal and external, you know, chemistry and positions and things like your body. Those 3 things comprise of your state. And when you optimize them, then you've finally gotten it right in this first stage of the model. And then you have different choices for action, which you must take. It's not enough just to sit there and get the inside right, okay? Because you have to translate it from the inside through your actions to the outside world. That's how thoughts become reality, because they need actions to translate from your individual self into the world as we know it, or the world of matter, if you will. So the performance triad is focusing on the part of your experience that is completely in your control. Focus, emotions, physiology, then dictating your choices for action, so taking different actions to finally produce different results. So in the next video, in the next 3 videos, actually, I'm going to focus on each one of those components in detail, because it sounds so simple, but remember from before, simple and easy are 2 totally different things, right? So focus on what you want. People are, obviously, if I'm trying to get to my ACME, Gina, I'm focusing on what I want. I'm going to tell you a story in the next video that will blow your mind. Not only do you fool yourself into thinking you focus on what you want, but how many of you have ever done a positive thinking course, right? And you've thought positively, you did all the course, and you still didn't get your result? Because I'm going to give you a clue. That's not the whole triad. Positive thinking is important. If you can't focus on what you want and put it into positive language, you can't even start this process. But how many of you have worked on your words and really said things in a positive way and still fell flat on your face? What up with that? It's because it's a triad. So while focus is absolutely critical, it's not the only part of the triad. There are 3 components. And I'll give you a clue. The emotions are really important. Okay? So you have to have positive emotions. Again, that sounds so trivial. Duh. Right? No, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to share with you an entire video about how we have no clue what our emotions are for. Most people try to just pretend they don't have any, right? Or dissociate from them. But the emotions are a guidance system. And I'm going to walk you through how to use this guidance system, because I created something here at Greatness U called the emotional guidance system, and how to snap out of your negative emotions. Now, I only picked that because people say that all the time. If I'm in a pissy mood, somebody will say, Gina, snap out of it. But I'm going to turn SNAP into an acronym. And every time you identify a negative emotional state, you're going to snap out of it, because you must be in a positive emotional state in order to get what you want. Now, I know that sounds insane, because who wouldn't be in a positive emotional state trying to get what they want? But you would be surprised. Like, I want you to think of what happens to you when you fail or fall down. Like, think about that race, from the video from before. You fall down, and when people talk about their failures, or when they talk about their falling down, do they light up like a Christmas tree, or do they get all like, right? So by going into when you talk about your failures or your lack of result at that point, what you do is you actually go into a negative emotional state, and you perpetuate the very thing you're wishing would change. I'm sure you've heard what you resist persists. That's what we're talking about. So choosing positive emotions is active. It's an active choice, but not to control emotions, to control focus, of which the emotions are an effect, and they communicate to you whether or not you are actually focused on what you want versus pretending or lying to yourself, using fancy language to pretend you're focused on what you want, when actually the internal programs and habits and dominant patterns that you run are actually focusing on what you don't want. So that's a big component of the performance triad. And then the third one is the physiology of power. Now, again, like, focus on what you want. Duh. Choose positive emotions. Duh. Physiology of power. Duh. Who's going to try to get what they want in a totally powerless state? Well, go look around at most people. Look at what they put into their bodies. Now, I'm not saying there's a definitive thing you should or shouldn't put in your body. I don't give advice. I don't think there's one way for everyone. I actually think live and let live. Let's figure out what works for you. But do you know what works for you? Right? For a long time, I make a joke when I'm on a stage, because I travel around the world and I speak in big audiences. And, some people call me a motivational speaker, fine, whatever. Some people call me a change maker, whatever. But, there's a genre of persons like me who do what I do. And so, I kind of felt like I needed to fit in. And so maybe I should be, drinking kale shakes or something. And, so I tried for years drinking green kale, and I hate kale. It's like I have a confession to make. I hate it. I really don't like it. And it doesn't work for me. In fact, when I drink kale, I get all bloaty and gross. It does, like, it's a disaster. If I drink kale before a gig, I'm uncomfortable because my pants get all bloaty and tight. So I just had to stop because it doesn't work for me. And I know that for a lot of people, kale's like supercharged and it charges them up. And I say, great. If that works for you, you should do that. But it's not universal. So I tell that funny haha story because I was trying to like do what everybody else was doing because they said it was great, but it wasn't working for me. And it was actually decreasing my physiology of power until I, admitted that that's not what creates power in my body. And then started to seek the things that do create power in my body. So a physiology of power has to work for you. But I am going to share 3 weeks from now, when I focus on the physiology of power, a very powerful physiological process that you can do to put your body in a very powerful state. That's called coherence. And this state is measurable, it's definable, and it's easily accessible. And in fact, there are fancy apps, for phones that we can use to measure whether or not we're in this state. And they do increase the likelihood that your body's going to be powerful. Because if you're trying to get what you want, you need to have all your power concentrated on what you want. So focus on what you want, choose positive emotions, and have a physiology of power. When those 3 things are checked off, focus on what you want, choose positive emotions, have a physiology of power. When the performance triad is activated, then you take action. And then you will take smart action. You will have choices for action that you may not have had before. And then you will get results faster and with less effort. So the performance triad is sort of the end of this theoretical performance model that we use at Greatness U, the ACME foundation, if you will. Like if you were to train with us at the foundational level, we go through those 3 mechanisms quite in depth, right? So we call them accelerated change mechanisms of excellence. Process, ACME 1 is the process of change itself, like what is actual change. And then number 2 is the cycle of results, which is here behind me. And then number 3 is the performance triad. And those 3 things married together should give you a really solid foundation on how to get from A to ACME faster and with less effort. And then the next 3 mechanisms we're going to cover in these videos are going to be dedicated to a more specific or chunked down techniques that allow you to alter more specific things, more refinement, if you will, so that you can get where you're going faster with less effort. So that's what this is all about. This whole ACME series is about that. So focus on what you want, choose positive emotions, have a physiology of power. Check, check, check. Then take action, then results. And, then you have to measure, did you get it or not? If you got it, great, you're done. If you didn't get it, you go back to the beginning and you start again and you change this, the performance triad, not just your actions, so that you can get a different result. It's like, I always say to people, it's like the shampoo bottle, lather, rinse, repeat. If it's not clean, just repeat. You don't need to get engaged. You don't need to make excuses, remain at cause. Just don't have to complain about the obstacle. You don't have to form a group to be the victim of all the obstacles. You just need to, fall down, get up, run. That's it. So just repeat. Focus on what you want, choose positive emotions, have a physiology of power, take massive action, get the results that you want faster and with less effort. That's what we're all about here at Greatness U, greatnessu.com. That's what we're all about. We only teach people, we teach all coaches of all walks of life how to get better results with their clients, because all coaching is change. And we teach business leaders how to get better results for themselves and the people that work with and for them, because all increased performance is change, right? At the end of the day, it's all about revealing greatness. It's already there. It just needs to be unlocked. So if you got a lot out of this video, I say it to the point I sound like a broken record, please become a subscriber, like, comment, share. Let's get this, help us proliferate this information. And remember, you probably have forgotten this, but throughout this video series, we're turning this into a book, so you're helping me. So those comments you keep sending me, all those, the way that you share it, other people's comments, they help me refine this material so that the book will be very concise and it will be very potent, so that people will be able to get to their ACME, to their peak point faster and with less effort. So you're helping me. Thank you. And let's keep it going. So keep it moving so that everybody can reveal their greatness.